Have you ever stopped to think that, many times, we are the ones responsible for blocking the blessings we so desperately desire? Imagine living in a constant struggle, searching for answers, yet ignoring what is truly standing in our way. Sometimes, the barriers that separate us from divine grace are not out there but within us. What if I told you that certain habits, attitudes, and even thoughts might be distancing you from God? The spiritual journey is full of ups and downs, but the key to unlocking blessings may lie in the small changes we make daily. What have you been feeding in your heart? What thoughts have been dominating your mind? Let's explore together 5 things that may be keeping you away from God's presence. Are you ready to open your eyes and, perhaps, change your life? Lack of forgiveness is a topic many prefer to avoid, but it is undeniable that its presence can be a heavy burden in a person's life. Imagine carrying a backpack full of resentment and hurt every single day. That is exactly how unforgiveness works. When we fail to forgive, whether ourselves or others, we create barriers that separate us from our own spirituality. These barriers hinder our connection with God and often prevent us from receiving the blessings we long for. Forgiveness is an act of love, both for the one who receives it and for the one who grants it. It is not just about forgetting, but about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that ties you to the past. For many, forgiving may seem like an overwhelming challenge, especially when it comes to deep wounds. However, it is essential to understand that forgiveness does not mean justifying the actions that hurt us. Rather, it is a way to free ourselves and allow positive energy to flow into our lives. Moreover, lack of forgiveness affects not only our emotions but also our spiritual well-being. When we hold on to bitterness, we may feel distant from God's presence, as if a dark cloud is hanging over us. This disconnection can leave us vulnerable to feelings of despair and loneliness. Spirituality, on the other hand, offers us a path of healing and renewal, where forgiveness becomes a powerful tool. It is also important to recognize that forgiving yourself is just as crucial as forgiving others. Many times, we become our own worst critics, constantly engaging in self-judgment and negative inner dialogue. This self-criticism can be destructive and prevent us from moving forward. When we learn to forgive ourselves, we open the door to self-acceptance and self-love, which are essential for a fulfilling spiritual life. Forgiveness can be seen as an act of courage. It is a firm step toward emotional and spiritual freedom. By breaking free from the chains of the past, you allow yourself to fully embrace the present, remaining connected to your essence and to the divine. This renewed connection can bring a wave of blessings and opportunities, transforming not only your life but also the lives of those around you. Negativity is a force that can silently consume us if we are not careful. When we focus on difficulties, we get trapped in a vicious cycle of complaints and discontent. This behavior not only distances us from blessings but also creates a barrier between us and the positive energy we need to thrive. It is as if we are surrounded by a dark cloud, preventing us from seeing the light and beauty around us. Focusing on difficulties is a common trap. It is easy to look at what is wrong, what is not working, and let ourselves be consumed by it. However, instead of complaining, what if you tried listing the things you are grateful for? Gratitude has the power to transform our perception and connect us with the divine presence. When we start to give thanks, even for the small things, we open the door for positive energy to enter our lives. Furthermore, negativity often spreads, affecting not only ourselves but also those around us. Imagine an environment where everyone is complaining and feeling frustrated. The energy becomes heavy, creating a space that does not foster spiritual growth. On the other hand, when we cultivate a positive attitude, we not only benefit ourselves, but we also inspire those around us to do the same. It creates a chain reaction of goodness, bringing light and joy to everyone. It is important to remember that this does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is fine. Acknowledging and facing challenges is part of life. However, how we choose to handle these challenges is what truly matters. Choosing to adopt a more optimistic outlook and practice constructive communication is a key step to elevating our energy and drawing closer to the divine. Cultivating a mindset of gratitude and positivity is a daily practice. At times, it can be difficult, especially during crises. But by making this effort, we are not only changing our own lives but also creating a space where the divine can manifest. Life becomes so much richer when we look at it through eyes of hope and gratitude. When we talk about disobedience to spiritual principles, it is important to understand that these principles are not just rules to follow, but guides that help us live in greater harmony. Ignoring fundamental values such as love, compassion, and honesty can create a separation, not only from God but also from ourselves. Losing connection with these aspects can lead to an inner emptiness that is difficult to fill. Imagine someone who constantly acts selfishly, ignoring the feelings of others. That person may believe everything is fine, but deep down, there is a disconnection. They end up pushing away the blessings they could be receiving because their attitude does not align with the principles of kindness and empathy. As a result, life's challenges can become even heavier, as the energy surrounding us reflects our actions. Additionally, disobeying spiritual principles can lead to unexpected consequences. Many times, difficulties arise as a wake-up call to reassess our choices. This can be an opportunity for growth and learning, but we must be willing to listen. If we continue to ignore these signs, the feeling of dissatisfaction may grow, creating a vicious cycle of discontent. We must also remember that living in alignment with spiritual principles brings a deep sense of inner peace. When we act with love and honesty, we not only draw closer to God, but we also create a more positive environment around us. This attracts people and opportunities that reflect the same energy, making it easier to receive blessings. As we reflect on our lives and actions, it is essential to ask ourselves, are we truly living according to these principles? This self-reflection may be the first step toward rebuilding our connection and making room for the blessings we desire. Lack of faith and trust in God is one of the greatest obstacles we can face on our spiritual journey. Often, life's uncertainties lead us to doubt that something good can happen. This doubt is not just a fleeting thought, it becomes a barrier that prevents the manifestation of our intentions and desires. When we do not believe that we are worthy or that God is working in our favor, we push away the blessings that could have been given to us. It is interesting to observe how faith acts as a bridge between us and the divine. When we have confidence, we are able to visualize what we desire with clarity and intensity. On the other hand, lack of faith can create a state of stagnation, where we feel trapped and without a way out. It is as if we were in a maze, unable to believe that there is an exit. This mindset can cause us to repeat negative patterns and miss valuable opportunities that appear along our path. Another important point is that faith does not mean the absence of doubts. It is natural to question and feel insecure, but what truly matters is how we handle these uncertainties. We can choose to feed our doubts, or instead, we can cultivate hope and trust. When we decide to believe, even in the face of difficulties, we create space for blessings to flow into our lives, strengthening our relationship with God. Additionally, practicing gratitude can be a powerful ally in building faith. When we start recognizing and giving thanks for the small blessings in our daily lives, our perspective shifts. This change helps us see that a greater force is guiding us, often in unexpected ways. As a result, our trust grows, and our spiritual connection deepens. Lack of faith and trust can be a significant obstacle on our spiritual journey. However, when we become aware of this and choose to work on cultivating a more positive and hopeful mindset, we can overcome this barrier and open the doors to the blessings God has in store for us. Many times, we become so absorbed in our own achievements that we forget where we came from. This sense of self-sufficiency can create an invisible barrier between us and the divine. Imagine someone who, feeling overly confident, ignores advice and guidance that could help them through difficult times. It is as if a cloak of superiority surrounds them, preventing them from seeing the light that could illuminate their path. When we become arrogant, we tend to dismiss the help of others. We believe that because we are competent or successful, we do not need anyone. This mindset, though it may seem empowering, actually disconnects us from true spiritual connection. Humility is a gateway, and by closing it, we lose the opportunity to receive valuable insights that could guide us toward a greater purpose. It is interesting to note that pride not only distances us from God but also from others. Relationships become shallow, as we become so focused on maintaining an image of superiority that we fail to cultivate genuine connections. As a result, blessings that could flow through meaningful relationships become scarce. True spiritual growth often comes from vulnerability and a willingness to listen, and this is only possible when we let go of pride. On the other hand, when we cultivate humility, we create space for a deeper dialogue with the divine. It is as if, by shedding our self-sufficiency, we become more receptive to the lessons that life offers us. Recognizing that we are all part of a greater whole allows us to connect with the divine essence within each of us. As we confront pride and arrogance, it is essential to reflect on the importance of humility. This virtue not only brings us closer to God but also helps us build more authentic and meaningful relationships. By allowing ourselves to be guided, we open the door to blessings that once seemed out of reach. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever caught yourself engaging in any of these attitudes that might be blocking your path? Remember, change starts within us. What can you do today to draw closer to God? Think about the importance of cultivating gratitude. Have you taken the time to express thankfulness for everything you have already achieved? Or perhaps unforgiveness is weighing on your heart. What if you let go of that burden and allowed peace to enter your life? And when was the last time you dedicated yourself to a sincere prayer, free from distractions? These small changes can open huge doors. And if you ever feel lost, do not hesitate to seek guidance from a trusted friend or a spiritual leader. Now, tell me, what do you plan to do from this moment on? What steps will you take to strengthen your connection with God? Share your reflections in the comments. Let's grow together on this journey of faith and discovery. Remember, blessings are closer than you think.